hockey fans, are you ready to brave the wild with me, your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan? Brave the Wild is now available on all of your favorite podcasting apps and also on the Hockey Podcast Network. I thank Dylan and Kyle very much for having me on board that awesome network. Thank you very much. Coming out of Vancouver, British Columbia. The Minnesota Wild this past week, well, there were 3 shutouts. 3. And the Wild got shut out twice. And just like some goofballs at work that think every Friday is the greatest thing in the history of mankind, like they come once every 5 years or something. Oh, shut up. But anyhow, that's about what you say about these shutouts. Yeah, well, at least Marc-Andre Fleury got his shutout, and of all places, Montreal, Quebec, because I kept saying on the last episode. And, of course, we're going to be a little bit, this show, I'd better be more topical. We're going to have something called the Get Rid of Him list. At least I'm going to try my best to put that together, so to speak. We're going to also look at the Utah somethings. We're going to look at the Utah names and such. I did have a poll on X, at Brave the Wild, but also kind of, interesting conversation, generally speaking, with how things are leaning out there. And interesting little tidbit that kind of popped up before the show this morning with the Utah Hockey Club. So we'll get with the Utah Hockey Club part of it. Like they would have a mascot. It would not stay the same circle that just says Utah Hockey Club. So that's good. It would actually have a mascot. So yeah, we'll get to what that mascot is in a little bit. Of course, the main topic of this episode last time, what was it? The surgery for Marian Gaborik. The surgery for Kirill Kaprizov. I almost said Gaborik, and then. This time around, it's the 10-game suspension for the genius Ryan Hartman. He's completely innocent. I mean, come on. Leave him alone. Yeah, BS. So, yes, that's kind of the main topic, unfortunately, along with the fact the Wild have been shut out now for a consecutive 121 minutes and 27 seconds. We just had to throw in that 27 seconds because we're being creative, It's real creative. Not. But a 4-0 win in Montreal and all of that. I do believe... Yes, Goudreau also had 2 points. He's French-Canadian as well, so very cool. Extremely happy for Marc-Andre Fleury. I do not... I have no problem with with what's going on, with the people, the way they're reacting and everything. I mean, I don't feel the same necessarily in terms of... I don't feel the excitement the same, but why other people would? Yes, I get it. Because it's like he wasn't here during his best years. That's the thing. Like if he was here during the best years, you'd be even more enthusiastic about it. But at the same time, happy for him. We saw most of what he's done. Obviously, you're not going to see every single game as a Pittsburgh Penguin and as a Vegas Golden Knight, though I did really like him as a Golden Knight, of course. Penguins got old after a while, even though it was nice to see Fleury have success, especially early, against the other team at the time, way back in 2009, the hated Detroit Red Wings. I think a lot of us were tired of them a bit because they had been, they'd had a ton of success over the course of many, many, many years. So it was kind of time to see something change over the course of the years. So, it's like you're happy to kind of move on from the Detroit Red Wings, and obviously they haven't won. They haven't come close to winning anything since then, even though they stayed competitive for a little while. Now that I'm kind of wandering all over the place. But yeah, it was great to see Marc-Andre Fleury and the Pittsburgh Penguins dethrone the Detroit Red Wings, as it was two years in a row, Pittsburgh versus Detroit. Pretty epic battle, honestly. The legendary aging team, even though a lot of the actual legendary players from the 90s and early 2000s had been gone, except for Nicholas Lidstrom. It was nice to see that team kind of move on, and just at the time, it was nice to see this young star, the 2 young stars that were number 1 in the draft, Marc-Andre Fleury, and of course Sid the Kid at the time. Now he's Sid the veteran, to say the least. Sid the older veteran guy, one of the older players. Liam Ogren would get a very greasy goal, getting his own rebound and getting it through. That was a very nice play, great effort, and all of that. Kind of similar to the Boston game, except nothing went in that one. We'll get to the stupid. We will get to the really stupid one in a little bit. Yakov Trenin also was credited with an assist, a couple of assists in the game. One of his better games of the Wild. A nice play here and there, but he just might be on the bleep list. Ryan Hartman also picking up an assist. Think he's on the bleep list? Think so? I think so. Freddie Gaudreau, one goal, one assist. Marco Rossi, 1 goal, 1 assist. Foligno, an amazing pass. Like, you could argue this was the play of the game, other than some of Marc-Andre Fleury's saves in the game. He only had 19. It wasn't like the best game ever. The team definitely wanted to help Marc-Andre Fleury get a shutout, and it definitely happened. Jacob Dobbs even had a great great save along the way, a great save or two, but ultimately did give up 3 goals, and then the fourth was an empty net. But Marcus Foligno, the way he just kind of, he retrieved the puck, and he just kind of did a nice hesitation. He had the defender, kind of like draped over him, did a nice hesitation, was able to shake the defender off by doing that. Simply just an outstanding timing with his skating, and then was able to zip the puck perfectly to Marco Rossi to finish on his goal in the game. Which one was it? 18th of the season. An absolute gorgeous pastime. And to me, that was the best play of the whole game. I mean, I just loved it. And Hartman, unfortunately, also was a part of that. What a weird line. Rossi, Hartman, and Foligno. I don't think Hartman's going to be on that line for a while. In fact, how ironic. His 10th assist. The number 10. That sounds familiar somehow. I don't know why that relates to Ryan Hartman. Let's see. He was suspended for 10 games. Yeah, because of what he did in the next game. Yeah, we'll get to that. I know. It's wonderful. But the Wild do win. A standing ovation that went on for almost 3 minutes for Marc-Andre Fleury. Every player on the other team skating over, shaking his hand, despite the fact they were just shut out. It was an amazing display. And, hats off to Marc-Andre Fleury. Did I get emotional? No. Yes, no. It's like, yes, no. I'm not trying to say, like, I don't care. Of course I care. And of course he deserves it. But it's like, imagine if Marc-Andre Fleury played his whole career here and won a Stanley Cup or 2 or 3. Even if the second 2 were kind of as a backup because of Matt Murray emerging in those playoffs those years, those back-to-back years against the Sharks and the Nashville Predators in the Cup final and ultimately. If he played his whole career here and we'd won cups and everything, oh, you bet I'd get emotional. He'd be like a Kirby Puckett. He'd be our Kirby Puckett in the hockey world. That's basically almost exactly what he is. Smaller guy, big smile, personality, like you wouldn't believe. Everybody loves him. And yeah, I mean, that's what it was like. When Kirby had to retire because glaucoma, I mean, you think that wasn't emotional? It was very emotional. But and he didn't get to have any farewell tour because he wasn't going to retire. It just, that just came up on him on a March morning, like. All of a sudden he had like a dark spot, like black spot. Like, why is this happening? Why can't I see suddenly, like, out of this eye? What the heck? It was really sad. For those of you old enough to remember that, almost 20 years ago. It was 19 years ago coming up here in March, early March. And then he passed away also years later with a stroke. Terrible. Jeez. Both in March. So March is definitely not a good month at all for a Kirby Puckett and Kirby Puckett fans. But that's pretty much what Marc-Andre Fleury would be. Just imagine he plays his whole career in Minnesota and all that and all that. And maybe he's like, 2 Stanley Cups like Kirby Puckett. It's just imagining, something along those lines. Like 2 World Series, obviously. It'd be so amazing. So, of course, you'd get emotional seeing, imagine we're playing the Blackhawks. It's Kirby Puckett, and or playing the White Sox. Everybody's coming over, or because that was the team he, liked growing up. Maybe the Cubs too, because they're from Chicago, and they all, make a big thing, and it'd be amazing, So of course you get emotional. So yes, I mean I'm just saying, I wish. Bottom line, I wish Marc-Andre Fleury played his whole career here. It's too bad you get him really late, but at least. At least we're a part of it, and we get to be a part of some of the latter stages, I suppose, when his career is celebrated. Now, again, so this is another part of the show here. The topic, obviously, Marc-Andre Fleury. Is he a top 3 goalie of all time? I don't think so. Top 10 for sure. Top 5, I don't know. Maybe yes. It's like, you know what I mean. It's kind of sort of like. Do I think he's better than Patrick Roy, Ken Dryden? Martin Brodeur, another French-Canadian legend. Well, 2 of them for sure in Patrick Roy, and of course Ken Dryden played for the Canadiens, and they won a ton of Stanley Cups in the 70s. I mean, they were an utter dynasty. And then everything eventually, completely disappeared. Now they're just kind of one of the mediocre teams in hockey, unfortunately, for many years now. I don't think he's on their level. I don't know. I mean, Jonathan Quick overall, I don't know. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe he is top five, but he's definitely not like, obviously the stats put him like he's number one, or like number two, number three-ish. But I don't think he's on the Brodeur, Patrick Waugh, Ken Dryden level. I'm just saying, I mean, and I think most of you would agree with that at the end of the day. Not trying to diss him at all. I'm just saying he's not like second all time or anything. It's just in certain statistics at the end of the day. But that's a tribute to his longevity, definitely, even though he at times was kind of more of a backup in Pittsburgh, but longevity, hanging in there, amazing career, Marc-Andre Fleury. So, hats off to you. I have a ton of hats over here with hockey related, and a certain football hat that I will not mention because, well, yeah, I might annoy some people. It's not the Packers, don't worry. But let's just say I don't want. Yeah, okay, let's just get off of it. Maybe you'll get a hint of it later in the show, just very subtly. Okay, anyhow, the Minnesota Wild get the job done versus Montreal. Very positive vibes going into Ottawa. What could go wrong? I mean, best road record in the league. Ottawa's aren't they one of the best home teams in the league? So I guess we have that going against us. But we have the best road record in the league. We beat Ottawa earlier in the season, even though no, actually we didn't. We lost to Ottawa. But we'll be okay. We'll just do the old switcheroo, dipsy-do, flipperoo, or whatever. No, we lost 6-0. 6-0. And it just felt like the air went out of the place pretty early. But it especially went out of the place because a certain guy who's played center who, in that fun commercial years ago, when Kaprizov and Zuccarello were passing the coffee cup back and forth, and then this guy, number 38, Ryan Hartman, picked up the coffee and drank it and shook his head like, okay, guys, just get on with it, like score already, rather than passing the puck not back and forth. That was the whole bit there. Yeah, we don't have the same vibes now. They should show him like grabbing the cup and smashing it on the floor and splashing coffee all over everybody. That's what they should show. And then like Kaprizov and Zuccarello just kind of like with coffee dripping up, burning, scalding hot coffee dripping off their face, looking at him like they want to kill him. That's what they should do. Pretty much. That's what they should do, because that's pretty much what Ryan Hartman did. No, the Wild were already down 3-0. Extremely frustrating. Did Ryan Hartman have a right to be annoyed with Tim Stützle? Yes, he did. Yes, he had a right to be annoyed with him. Did he come close within the same universe to have the right to slam his head on the ice during a face-off or after a face-off, whatever? Did he have any right to do that? Absolutely not. Like, there's just no reason. Like, you want to drop the gloves with the son of a gun? You want to, like, hit him real hard? Maybe get kicked out of the game only? Hopefully not anything like where you're potentially, like, causing terrible injuries. Maybe. I mean, you can even kill a person. Isn't that how Bill Masterson died? He hit his head on the ice? No, that was absolutely just unintentional, but still hit his head on the ice without a helmet on, because that was way back in the day. Very few players wore helmets back then in the late 60s. God, really, that was it's like every time you read that story, you get goosebumps. It's real sad. But here I go down in rabbit holes again. And it's like a game that started kind of, like obviously nobody was scoring. You felt, okay, maybe we'll win a low-scoring game. But then, late Josh Norris gets a shorthanded goal. Then Stützle, of course, scores. Amadio, third. But then you got that match penalty. And it was like Ottawa basically was like, it was like if the floodgates opened. They scored 3 goals in a row early in that third period. Floodgates were wide open. They were all power play goals, like making the penalty kill look like complete garbage. But it's not a good penalty kill at all. But, I mean, when it's like a continuous penalty, continuous power play because of what took place, that's how it goes, And you just get absolutely smashed. It's kind of like what happened years ago with... what was it? It was Vegas versus San Jose years ago. Remember that in the playoffs? Vegas was winning that series, and everything changed when, I believe, Joe Pavelski got a concussion. He was kind of smashed down into the ice. Not as egregious, but still bad. Kind of bad. I think they were blaming Stone and all that, if I remember correctly. It wasn't good, but it wasn't as obvious, basically, put it that way. And then San Jose went on a crazy run because they were like, oh, you sons of blanks or whatever. And then they basically tore back into the Golden Knights and knocked them out of the first round. The Sharks went all the way to the conference finals, if I remember correctly, that year. I believe they did, didn't they? Didn't they beat Colorado in the second round? And then they ultimately lost to... who won the Cup that year? St. Louis, that's who it was. It was the St. Louis Blues. They beat them. And then, because that was 2019. Yeah, crazy. So it was kind of like that. At least the run, the rally by the team with the victim player. It was the rally basically, and everything changed. So it was just kind of remnants of that, in a way. But at the end of the day, should I start off the get rid of him list? So otherwise, Jake Sanderson, Brady Tkachuk, and Drake Batherson all factoring. And in those power play goals, Tim Stützle with an assist on 2 of them. Crazy. And that figures. Completely figures. Roughing. Because there was a thing going on early on. Obviously, Ryan Hartman had a right to be mad at him getting slashed and all that by Stützle. But again, the reaction. And also Hartman thought that maybe he got like an unfair call between him and Stützle. Like Stützle maybe should have gotten a bigger penalty or something. But obviously everybody was frustrated with that. But then again, what took place later was just like, you really aren't thinking here. You've got to be kidding. And what made me most upset at the end of the day was his reaction. I think it made me more upset than anything else. It was like, what? It was as if he like barely grazed the guy or something, and they called, and there's like, you're out of here, get out. It'd be like he barely grazed him with a stick or something, like maybe just like a hard check or something. It's like, what? Like he couldn't believe it. Match penalty. Are you nuts? No, you're nuts, dude. You're nuts for what you did. So, the get rid of him list. Shall we dive into that? Drum roll, please. Well, here we go. Number one, the number one guy to get rid of in the offseason or even sooner. Ryan Hartman, there's no doubt. What's annoying is, well, next year and the year after, there's $4 million on each year remaining in his contract. So, yeah, this is the first of the 3 years of the $4 million. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that just terrific? Wouldn't be a free agent until 27, 28, so the summer of 28. Absolutely explicit. Love it so much. Okay, you get the point. But, yeah. So talk is that there could be a buyout coming at some point here, or a trade if that's humanly possible. I'm not sure that it is humanly possible. The number 2 guy, an easy choice, Yakov Trenin. If somehow, some way, in God's green earth, we can get rid of the guy, it'd be great. Because he doesn't do anything, really. He's not worth the price of admission. He's not worth the roster spot. We need to make space for the incoming guys, including a guy like Liam Ogren, so he could stay up here in Minnesota. I think he's pretty close to somebody that should stay up in Minnesota. I did ask that question in my lightning round on Twitter for the Croesus podcast, and they were like, "Yeah, he's pretty darn close." So yeah, I think he is too. I think he's really close. So it's like guys like that, Yakov Trenin, I think, 3.5. This is the first of 4 years of 3.5. Doesn't become a free agent until the summer of 28. So Ryan Hartman, what the heck am I looking at here? That's weird. Okay, so 28, 29, right? Wouldn't it be 28, 29? Yeah, that's 27, 28. So summer of 28 is when Hartman, so 28, 29. Frickin' Yakov Trenin. Lord have mercy. Lord. Okay, anyhow. Number 3, it's kind of a tougher choice. See, to me, Freddie Gaudreau, 2.1 is not that much, and he doesn't hurt us. And he wins face-offs, he's okay, and he's the kind of guy you could put on the fourth line and not feel like, oh boy, I don't know. See, at 2.1, $4 million, fourth line isn't like what are you doing? What a waste. Even Marcus Johansson is actually making less than Freddie Gaudreau, which is kind of annoying in a way when it comes with Freddie Gaudreau. So he doesn't become a free agent also like Yakov Trenin until 28, 29, yeah, 27, 28, 28, 29. Yeah. He doesn't become a free agent until that year. So it's wonderful. 2.1 isn't that bad, but again, you can get away with having that guy on the fourth line. Like Johansson's contract isn't that much, so it's like that's kind of where some people are like, oh, it's not that big a deal. But again, you still wouldn't mind having that money, and more important even than the money is the roster spot. So that's a huge thing, to say the least. Especially when you're going to sign Kirill Kaprizov to anywhere from 14 to 16 million per, which is funny because in the NHL, that's like, oh my God, 14 to 16 million, man, that's crazy. You know, Connor McDavid's making 13 and a half, 13.5. And then you see like, you know, like Naz Reid or whatever in the NBA. What is he making, like 20 or no? I think he's making like 20. He's a good player, but I mean, it's like he's considered more of a six-man type of guy, like a really good rotation player. There's backup point guards that probably aren't even that good. They're making like 12 to 14 million a year. It's just funny, like the you know, just the incredible what do they call it, disparity between the NBA and the NHL. And I bring it up all the time because I think it's crazy. Marcus Foligno, I think, is next on the list. Yeah, he's 33. Outside of that great pass, kind of like Yakov Trenin, you know, making a good play here and there. Like Marcus Foligno making a good play here and there. He's another one. You know, he's not as egregious as Ryan Hartman. Ryan Hartman is Matt Cook. I should just call him Ryan Cook or Matt Hartman. You know, he's Ryan Cook. He's a modern day version. I just called him Ryan Cook. Matt Cook. Yeah, Ryan Cook was a guard in the NFL, wasn't he? The Vikings got him for Culpepper, and he did nothing, basically. Great trade. Typical great trade by the Vikings in the past. Of course, we'll see how they do in this offseason. Great offseason last year. Just terrible postseason again. But anyhow, we're used to that around here. Minnesota Wild fans, aren't we? Marcus Foligno. Yeah, I would not mind moving on somehow, some way, but of course they're not going to. But they're just not. Trenin and Hartman, I don't know. I don't think they're going to move on from Trenin yet. Maybe one more year of this BS, and they'll say adios, amigo, or niet is more like it. Something along those lines. So Goudreau's definitely not third. Like Foligno, it's just, again, he's getting older. The contract pisses me off, this and that. What else can I say? I mean, I kind of made my point. Spurgeon, when healthy, is good. It's just, is he going to be healthy? And of course, 7.575, 2 more years, and then the summer of 28. So just like Ryan Hartman, I guess getting rid of him is not the best idea, but whatever. The Middleton contract, I think, is worthwhile. Bogosian, I don't know. It's like he's really old. This and that. He was a former Atlanta Thrasher. There's not that many left anymore, because like a lot of us are probably pretty used to the Winnipeg Jets being back in the NHL, but I think I'm gonna continue to file my complaint on the look. Can't you just go back to the classic look? Can't you though? I don't like. I've never been a fan of the current Winnipeg Jets look, like the logo and uniforms. Can't you just have the classic look? Can't you please? Declan Christom's only making $1 million. I'm not that upset. John Merrill 1.2. He's actually played pretty well for considering his standards. He's played pretty well. So on and so forth. Yeah. So I think I've made enough of that. I'm babbling at this point. But yeah, those are like 3 guys I think at the top of the list. But I'm also talking about the other guys. Like Freddie Gaudreau doesn't bother me that much. Just doesn't. Obviously Zuccarello is great passer. Great chemistry with Kaprizov and all that. He's not going to last forever. He's 37. It is what it is. He's not making $6 million. He's making 4 something. So 4.125. So it's not the worst. So basically, the get rid of him list is Ryan Hartman, Yakov Trenin are at the top. Foligno comes in third. Gaudreau, I mean, still the length of the contract and the roster spot is annoying, but he's a steady veteran for a fourth line, and I think he'll be better to have than, say, again, no disrespect to these guys, but I have to say it, like the Devon Shores and such. What was the other one? It's been up and down all year. And like Dermott, I mean, the poor guy, he's probably going to get moved around all over the place, like waived and signed and waived and signed. Might end up start happening to Declan Chisholm too. I think he's kind of fallen off the map a bit. So I don't think he's coming back. I don't think they're bringing Declan back, and obviously Dermott, almost no chance. He might be one of those safety kind of guys that if he somehow gets waived and like, oh yeah, we're familiar with him and he's not too bad. So he doesn't hurt you, but there's just not much there to work with. Other conversations, real quick again. Vinny Hinostra, Hinostra, if I'm saying it okay. The Wild picked him up off of waivers from Nashville because of, the suspension to Ryan Hartman. He's a similar player without the stupidity, you could say, kind of a, he's not real big, and he's also from Chicago, which is funny. 5'10", 183. He's had some success. He had 39 points for the Arizona Coyotes in 18-19, 16 goals that year. But ever since then, it's pretty much been 20 points or less. He's been a well-traveled guy. He's been with Chicago twice, Arizona, then the Florida Panthers, just 9 games there, a cup of coffee. Blackhawks, that was in the same year, Blackhawks. Pretty productive there, though. Whew, at least in his second. Yeah, he was productive in second stint. Only 17 games, 12 points. That's not bad. Buffalo Sabres, a couple years. Not too bad. Pittsburgh Penguins, 14 games last year. Nashville Predators, 13 games this year, 2 assists. And he's been with the Milwaukee Admirals and been extremely productive. Really high end in the AHL. Because he's an NHL level guy. But, maybe he's kind of dropped down into the quad A level at this stage, if you know what I mean. Like, really good in the minors, but can't, but not, I don't know, just doesn't translate to the pros really well at this point. But we'll see. He's done something in the NHL, 387 games, 153 points, 54 goals, 99 assists. So not terrible at all. But at the same time, again, he's dropped off the past 2-3 years here, unfortunately. So I don't expect Hinostra to be a... Hinostroza. Excuse me, sorry, Vinny Hinostroza. To be a long-term, anything long-term around here, probably not. But he said he's excited to be here, and I'm sure he is, so appreciate him. Very productive in the World Juniors way back in 2014. He was a point-a-game guy in that, so good for him. That was the under-20s, of course. He's now 30 years old, and he's a centre, as they might say in Montreal. So there's some of that transaction and your get rid of him list. Might not have been the most exciting, sexy thing of all time, but definitely guys you want to move on from, to say the least. The Boston game, again, better effort, but another freaking shutout. Swayman was awesome. The Wild did have plenty of chances. Ogren felt like he could have scored about 2 or 3 times. Rossi, he could have scored about maybe at least 2 times in the game. But Swayman was swinging that puck away. Boston has been up and down most of the season. Kind of disappointing. He stopped 36 shots to Jeremy Swayman. And, Marc-Andre Fleury also stopped 32. The Wild ultimately give up an empty net goal. Again, shots on goal. Boldy was pretty damn good. And, of course, he's in his hometown. A couple of one-timers. Swayman was just ready for him, damn it. One of them, it felt like he just shot it right at the goalie. Like, come on, Matt. You had the whole right side open, and you shot it left. What are you doing, bro? What are you doing, buddy? So that was kind of annoying a little bit. It's like you just shot it right into the guy's glove. You idiota. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that was annoying. Joel Eriksson Ek had 5 shots on goal. Ogren 4. And, yeah, he was good. Ogren was very active and again, not afraid to get a little dirty. That's what I'm noticing about Ogren. Not dirty like injuring people. Just dirty like potentially risking yourself a little bit of getting knocked around. Getting close to the net. Yeah, Liam Ogren, I like what I'm seeing. I think there's something there. I think there's a lot of something there. And the highlight of the game for Meritus Nadinov is he won 8 and lost 3 faceoffs. Excellent in the circle. He was the best guy by far for Minnesota. Freddie Gaudreau, again, is usually an above 50% guy, which we don't have a lot of around here, to say the least. Definitely an active, aggressive Minnesota Wild team that just could not solve Jeremy Swayman. Doggone it. And that's pretty much what happened. So the Mike Modano Award winner for this episode is going to go to Marc-Andre Fleury. Honorable mention is going to Liam Ogren. Yep, absolutely. So I don't want to go out of this segment without mentioning Liam Ogren. Wonderful week. He was the best skater for Minnesota, I think, in a lot of ways this week. Or maybe not the best, but the most encouraging. When you think of the young guys and all of that, and then some of the stupid nonsense going on as well, and just the lack of effort. The team was just like caught sleeping 1,000 times in that stupid Ottawa game. Even, even before the furious rally after the Ryan Hartman stupidity. But obviously, your choice for the what do they call it? James Shepard Memorial Popcorn Maker. Ryan Hartman, you're going to be making popcorn. You're not going to be drinking coffee. You're going to be making popcorn. So easy choice there for Ryan Hartman for what he did. I think I've said enough already, but I guess you'll hear more of it on Twitter or X coming up. We'll take a quick break. Only 2 games to preview as we head into this interesting thing with the 4 nations. And we are back here on Brave the Wild, segment number 2. 2 games to preview before we head into the 4 nations deal. But first we're going to hear from DraftKings. Have you played Pick 6 from DraftKings? What are you waiting for? You better get on it. It's Super Bowl 59, the last time to play NFL Pick 6 this season. As the official daily fantasy sports partner of the NFL, DraftKings does fantasy sports like no one else. Play for better payouts on Pick 6. It's super easy to get started. Select 2 or more players. Choose if they'll have more or less of a stat, like touchdowns, yardage, sacks, or more. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. And DraftKings is making it even sweeter for first-timers. New Pick 6 customers play $5 and get $59 in Pick 6 credits. Win more cash on Pick 6. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to play $5 and get $59 in Pick 6 credits. Only on DraftKings Pick 6, which hopefully the Eagles do on Mr. Mahomes, in my opinion. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. And thank you for sure, always, DraftKings, for having us on board THPN, the Hockey Podcast Network. So into the month of February, the Wild have been scoreless. Yeah, the Wild have been scoreless in the month of February. Isn't that wonderful? It's awesome. It's awesome. Well, I think that ends tonight, I hope. Carolina and New York up and coming. And then the 4 nations, okay? So we'll probably keep up with the prospects. I'm guessing maybe have some short shows about it. But you probably got to keep it coming. Just have some shorties and, shorter shows. We'll see. I'll probably have some fun topics to get into, I'm sure. And sometimes not sometimes. I often enjoy that more than when there's like 4 or 5 games to talk about, So even though I like watching the games, but it's like sometimes you'd rather get more topical than just go on and on about the game. So, which I tend to do way too much. The Carolina Hurricanes, the former Hartford Whalers, which I would take back in a second. Second place in the Metropolitan Division, an insanely competitive team for years and years and years and years and years. When are they going to win another Stanley Cup? Watch, maybe this is the year. Who knows? I mean, I've picked them to go to the finals like 50 times, I swear, and they've let me down every year. Injuries, knock on wood. Jakub Lauko. Come on, man. Again? The Minnesota Wild plays Jakub Lauko on injured reserve on Wednesday, February 5th. Happy birthday, Mom. Yes, happy birthday, Mom, February 5th. Kirill the Thrill is not for real at the moment. The injury is for real, unfortunately. Long-term reserve January 26th, and, of course, the surgery. And then Tony Grosnek, of course, had the ACL. That's one of the AHL type of guys way back in October. For the Carolina Hurricanes, Juha Jaska, illness, Feb 5. William Carrier, Rod Brind'Amour. Yeah, I think we talked about this. Yep, so I think we talked about this, but I'll say it again. Rod Brindamore said, yeah, because this is, not that long ago that we played them. This is at the beginning of the year, January 5th. Carrier has undergone surgery and is facing a long-term absence, according to Chip Alexander of the Rally News and Observer. Yep, I remember reading that. Tyson Yost. Whoa, who's that guy? Remember him? Carolina Hurricanes placed Tyson Yost on long-term injured reserve January 26th, just like Kirill the Thrill. Pardon me. Tyson, 12 games, 2 points. Yost. Yeah, that guy, or 15 games and 1 point? Yeah, something like that. The comparisons, Carolina 7th, Minnesota 21st. Goals against, Carolina 9th, Minnesota 12th. So, what's the next one? Power play. Yeah, great. Carolina 21st, Minnesota 24th. Penalty kill, Carolina 1st, Minnesota 30th. Yeah. Wow. Power penalty minutes, Carolina 7th, Minnesota 13th. Everything. Every bleeping stat, Carolina's better. They ought to play the song, anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. And then we're like, no, you can't. I'm going to knock your head into the ice. Yes, I can. Okay, just kidding. Well, the Wild did win 4-0 last time we played them on January the 4th. Yeah, it seems like 19 years ago with the way this team has played. Oh, goody, another shutout, but at least this one favored us, so, okay. But now they're coming to Xcel Energy Center. Minnesota Wild Road Warriors, we all know that. Carolina coming to Minnesota. I don't know, man. What can I say? What can I say? We're going to score a goal or two. I think it's going to be like 4-2 Carolina or something like that. That's what I'm leaning towards. Let's look at the Hurricanes for a minute this year, if possible. Martin Nakas, I'm probably saying it wrong, with 55 points, 16 goals, 39 assists to lead the Hurricanes in scoring overall. Sebastian Ahu with 17 goals, 34 assists, 51 points in 53 games. Seth Jarvis, who can knock people around a bit. At least I thought. Well, yeah, he gets his hits, but there's not as many as Svechnikov or Jordan Stahl, who both have 100-plus hits. Seth Jarvis at 71, still decent. 40 points, though. 20 goals, 20 assists. Pretty good. He's actually leading the Carolina Hurricanes in goals, which is impressive. Brent Burns, who's definitely dropped off over the years. A lot. Yep, he's dropped off this year. 54 games, only 19 points. And I know we'd still take that here in Minnesota, but it's kind of hard to imagine this young, I still remember him as this young, clean-shaven, 18-year-old boy as a rookie. I still remember him, that, was it like Taste of the Wild or something like that? It was like, I forget when exactly this was. Like what time of year. It's like March. It was usually like later in the season, like March-ish. I believe, I'm sure they still do it. I just haven't been around, unfortunately. Different schedules and stuff over the years. Yeah, I remember meeting him. That was the same day, I believe, I met Brunette and Philip Kuba. I think it was those three. Kuba, very quiet, but nice. You can tell he's a nice guy, just quiet, very quiet. Like not necessarily probably excited about having to sit there and see like a trillion people coming in. Nice guy though. Brunette, awesome, and Burns, just a genuine young, dare you call him sweetheart of a young man. It's just and I don't. Yeah, awesome kid. And now look at him. This great career. Obviously he looks 1,000,000% different than he did back then. It just looked like a young guy from Ajax, Ontario, which is like a suburb of Toronto. That's what he looked like. Just a young hockey player, kind of like a younger than Boldy look, kind of like that. Now here he is, only 19 points in 54 games, and I know only. Sure, you'd still take that on Minnesota in a heartbeat, but he still could get like 40 points or something. But yeah, definitely has dropped off over the years, and oh man, yep, lots of memories with that. It's been a heck of a career. That's all I'm trying to say, and it's cool when you meet somebody at the very beginning of their career like that. Like I was just about face to face with David Ortiz, like this monster of a first baseman, this behemoth. In his second or third Major League Baseball game ever, playing for the Minnesota Twins at first base against a pretty good Cleveland Indians team that would go on to lose the World Series by, just a couple of feet practically. It was heartbreaking. Cleveland should have won. Cleveland should have won that World Series, but they didn't. They were up 3-2 going into the bottom of the ninth, and Jose Mesa blew the save, basically. That's all you need to know. Yeah. So it's just memories like that, though, when you meet someone real early and they go on to have this crazy career. Well, I mean, I didn't meet David Ortiz, but I mean, we were at the first base line basically, and my goodness, who's this behemoth? He looks like the next Frank Thomas. It's pretty much my story about David Ortiz. Tyson Jost about the same. 16 games, 2 goals, and hurt. Sounds unfortunately about right. The Wild also dealt away. The Wild did make a move this week, didn't we? But bottom line, Hurricanes win 4-2. Sorry, I'm going on already. And again, so I apologize for that. So we'll come back to that in a minute. We'll move on here real quick. So the New York Islanders, a far cry from what they were just a few years ago, losing 1-0 to Tampa Bay before they went on to win another Stanley Cup. I mean, that Islanders team would have won the Cup for sure. Losing 1-0 to Tampa Bay in Game 7. I felt so bad for those guys. That was an awesome hockey team just a few years ago when Tampa Bay was winning the Cup. Hudson Fasching, upper body, Feb 5. Scott Mayfield did not play on Feb 4. Okay. Matt Barzal, remember him? Yep, he was like the best player on that team when they went to the conference finals a couple of years in a row. Big fan. Big fan. Big fan of the Islanders and Barzal. I love that team. They're 5th place in the Met, 25, 21, and 7. Barzal, injured reserve as of Feb 4. It's not long term, but it is, injured reserve regardless. New York Islanders are worse than the Wild, 26th in goals, 11th in goals against, which is better. Yay. Power play, they're the worst in the league. Only 12 power play percent, basically. Penalty kill is worse than the Wild. So we found a team that is worse. That is worse on both special teams. So I think the Wild should win this one. Penalty minutes, okay, they're way better than us. They're second in the league, only 303 penalty minutes. The Wild were pretty good for a while. New York has 122 less penalty minutes than the Wild. Crazy. Carolina actually had been struggling. They're 2-3 in their last 5, but I think they beat the Wild. New York Islanders are 4-1 in their last 5, so this might end up being a switcheroo here. Islanders are playing super well. They beat Colorado, they beat Philadelphia, they beat Tampa, they lost to Florida 6-3, and then beat Vegas. So New York Islanders have been playing great lately. That's why they have a winning record now. Barely. You got to have more than a winning record to make the playoffs. I won't go on that rant again. Wild 31-19-4 and 3rd place in the Central Divisione, which is hopefully where we can stay. If not, instead of dropping off into the wild card land, but we might. We might now. I don't know. Who knows what the vibe is around the team right now? I can't imagine it's the best at the moment. Boy, these are both in the X. Oh boy, could we get swept by these teams? I think so. I think we could, but just to say, I mean, the Wild have had success against the Isles of late. These are both again Eastern Conference teams, so of course the rubber match for Minnesota Carolina is tonight, and the rubber match for New York and Minnesota, New York Islanders anyway, not the Rangers. April 4th will be much more sunlight than now, even though we have significant improvements in the sunlight of late. Yes, I love talking about that because I love spring. I love spring as it slowly starts coming. Unfortunately, we're going to get a lot of snow possibly on Saturday when they're playing. So hope you have a safe trip to the arena if you're going. Safe journey to you. Definitely saying that with full sincerity. Anders Lee is leading the club in goals with 22. He has 39 points. Bo Horvat's the overall leading scorer because he has 21 assists. I mean, 40 points in 52 games. Good numbers, but not great. Brock Nelson has been mentioned in trades with the Wild for quite a while. Big guy, behemoth of a guy, 6'4", but he's almost in his mid-30s already. 16 goals, 17 assists. He's been an incredible Iron Man, knocking on wood. Incredible Iron Man for many years. So that's good. Big respect given out to Brock Nelson, and he's, of course, a Minnesota native. He's had a hell of a career, quite honestly. And, again, lots of respect going his way. Do I want him on Minnesota? Maybe short term, but I don't know. I don't know what to say. Mostly because, like, if there's injuries to certain guys, or you're going to finally dump Ryan Hartman, but I don't think they're going to do that right away. Barzal, yeah, he's missed a bunch of time, unfortunately. 30 games, 6 goals, 14 assists. Definitely not the Barzal we've seen because of that, unfortunately. Goaltending, Ilya Sorokin, a lot of people look at him as a great goaltender. And yeah, I think he has 20 wins, 14 losses, 2.58 goals against average, 91 save percentage, and 3 shutouts on the season. He's the only guy to get a shutout for the Islanders over this season. Seaman Varlamov, the former, I can't remember where he was before, blanking on him. I don't think he was with, no, we'll just leave off of that for now. 2.89 goals against average. Yeah, I can click on it, who cares? Was he with, yeah, he was the guy with Colorado, yes. Yep, he was the guy with Colorado. I keep getting him mixed up, and yeah, he's also on long-term injured reserve since 19th, so they've had other goalies come in. Hogberg, well, he's been actually great. Hogberg, 2 games, 2 wins, 2 losses, 1.45 goals against average, and Jakub Skarek, almost over 5 goals a game, but it was only 1 game. The Carolina goalies, which I didn't even get into, Pyotr Kochakov, 19 wins, 10 losses, 2.48 goals against average, pretty good. Fredrik Anderson has missed a bunch of games, 6 wins, 2 losses, 2.12 goals against average, and a shutout. Save percentage 91.3. So obviously he's the man if healthy. In Frederick's case, but he's missed a ton of time. Looks like he is healthy now. Again, more reason to believe that the Hurricanes win. I think the Wild beat the Islanders 3-2. 3-2 win for the Minnesota Wild versus the Islanders. Most likely guy to score versus Carolina is going to be Boldy. Then I think Liam Ogren scores against the Islanders and the Wild win. Maybe a multi-point game for Liam Ogren. So I'm picking Liam Ogren. I love that. So the Wild will split the upcoming games. Let's get into prospects fairly soon here. I apologize. I have this kind of messed up a bit. Come on now. I'm pressing the button. You can take care of it now, right? If humanly possible. So, yeah, I had something kind of messed up here. One quick minor transaction the Wild did as well. We traded Sammy Walker to the Utah. To Utah. Well, the Utah Mammoths. Outlaws or Hockey Club. Those are the finalists, of course, for future considerations. Sound good. The good news is Brodin's been activated. Ben Jones is one of those other guys. Yep, sent to the minors. Johansson's been activated. Yalauko placed on the injured reserve, but not long term. And Vinny Hinostroza to Minnesota. Sounds good. Yes. Okay, so let's get to Iowa if possible. Got to slide things around here. I'm just an absolute mess today, and I apologize. Travis Boyd leading the minor league club in scoring, but he's a minus 15, 27 points in 34 games, 7 goals, 20 assists. He's definitely got the lead in assists. Spacek continues to be incredibly productive, 4 goals, 16 assists, but minus 13, which is a bummer. But again, remember, he is 21. I am a fan of David Spacek. He's the 3rd leading scorer on Minnesota, and remember, he is a defenseman. So, nice. Iowa Wild, just all over the place. Gauntz is a minus 16. He's the 2nd leading scorer with the Iowa Wild, and he's 30, which is frustrating, I'm sure, for him. Graham Clark from Waconia, 15 points. He was again traded for Adam Beckman, or traded to Minnesota for Adam Beckman. Toporowski's a +6. It's outstanding. +6. 15 points in 25 games and +6. That's awesome. 23-year-old Iowa native in Iowa. Minus 16 for Caden Bankier as well. So again, he's the young learning guy at 21. Spacek 21. Milne 21, and he's a minus 12. 16 points in 39 games. Definitely it's slowed considerably since the hot start. Ryan O'Rourke is now a minus 7. That seems to be getting worse. Still only 4 points in 33 games now. So that's a bugger. Carson Lambos encouraging minus 2. Not bad, and 9 points on the year in 39 games. So you're seeing steps forward from Carson Lambos more so than guys like Ryan O'Rourke. I can imagine the frustration for him. And Juracek, 3 points in 16 games. Definitely not as productive as you would hope, and he's a minus 4. He's already played 16 games, but he is 20. So that would make him the youngest player on the entire team in Iowa. So a little tied with Hunter Haight. Hunter Haight, who's minus 8. Excuse me. 19 points, 10 goals on the year, which is 3rd on the team. Liam Logren was 2nd. Remember, he had a hat trick earlier in La Saison. Iowa continues to be meh, And Wallstead continues to be worse than meh. He's been giving up 4 or 5 goals a game lately at the AHL level. Save percentage is 87.1. Jeez. 5 wins, 9 losses on the year. 87.1. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm very sad actually about it. I'm very sad about it, to be quite fair. And I think you should be too. It's a bummer. Hopefully the guy can turn it around. I don't know what to say right now. Hopefully in the summer something clicks. Kind of like Marco Rossi, who couldn't score for his life. Remember that year? Just worked his ass off and then came back, and he was a pretty damn good player. And then this year, a pretty big step forward again, turning him into a really good player. So, his last year, like trade Cox, like thinking about trading him, was still like, yeah, maybe. It's like, who knows how much better he's going to get. But this year, it's like, no, get out of here. Don't even talk about that anymore. So, that's the conversation there. Damon Hunt watch just for the hell of it. I don't know. Eventually, I'll stop doing this. 11 points in 23 games for the AHL's Cleveland Monsters. All right. So, college hockey? Yeah, let's get on with that. College hockey. Please? Yeah, I remember Jack Pert was one of the guys who were worried about the prospects. Yeah, because he hasn't been that productive, but at least he's not like a minus, 12 or something with no points. So, he's got no points, but he's not that encouraging either at the same time. Ryan Healy for Harvard. I always have fun saying that. He's now at 7 points in 21 games. 1 goal, 6 assists. Definitely a big drop from last year. But he's a defenseman, and he's a -6, though. It's better than -26 last year. So that's nice. And again, he did miss time, of course. Rhaegar Lorenz, who'd been off to a crappy season, generally speaking. Huge drop from last year, but it was the prospect of the week. Very productive. What did he have, like 3 points or something last weekend? So that was really cool. 5 goals, 7 assists, 12 points total, and he's a +8. So regular Lorenz finally kind of getting things going a bit. He's definitely not a defenseman. He's a left winger, so you're expecting a little more production there. Danilo Yurov, 24 points now, 12 goals, 12 assists in 44 games. And the end of the season is not too far away over there in the KHL, depending on how far they go in the playoffs. And we could be talking about Danilo Yurov wearing the Christmas colors or the North Star colors pretty soon. Yep. Jimmy Clark, the Minnesota Gophers, swept the Badgers, so good for them. That's a good thing. Jimmy Clark, 3 points ahead of last year's pace now, at least. 3 points ahead of last year's total, and 10 less games so far. I think he's a +16. 4 goals, 10 assists for the 7th round pick, 2023 7th round pick. And he's a +16 on the season. That's awesome. Taylon Parker, defenseman, Calgary Hitmen, and Moose Jaw Warriors. Kind of a mess start to the year in Moose Jaw, but it has been pretty good for Calgary, and he's a +27. 18 points in 28 games. +27 versus a -6. So great job, Taylon Parker of late. Aaron Pionk, 20 points. And he's reached last year's total already. For Minnesota Duluth, he is 22 years of age, so he's a late bloomer, so to speak. 37 games last year, 20 points. This year, 24 games so far, because obviously the season ain't over yet. We got the big stretch coming now, where the final 2 months here, and he's already reached last season's total. 2 goals, 18 assists, and he's a +3 versus a -9. Great progress by defenseman Eric Pionk from Hermantown. Awesome. Riley Height, again, dropped off this year, like I've been talking about, and that's why he was on the concern list for Derek. You'll be hearing about that in the fan interaction segment, as I like to read off the results from the polls. So, yep, Derek does include hashtag BTWMN, which is very much appreciated. Prince George Cougars. He's still well over a point a game, but last year he was about 2 points a game. He was slightly under that. So definitely a drop-off for Riley Height. 41 games, 23 goals, 40 assists, 63 points. You think that's nothing to sneeze at, but he had 117 last year. And he ain't getting that this year unless he goes on the run like you've never seen. Charlie Stramel, obviously big steps forward, kicking butt with Michigan, almost a point a game now versus light years away from that years ago with Wisconsin. 28 games, 9 goals, 15 assists, 24 points, all college career highs, and he's a plus 14 versus being anything minus, which is awesome. Leskovar, I know. 14 games, 1 assist. Chad Woodsky, Woodsky. Chase Woodsky, not Chad. Struggling, 3.52 goals against average, 14 wins, 21 losses. Save percentage of 89.5, so that's a little bit better. But he has definitely been not much to write home about. Unfortunately, Stolioni's been around in the different leagues there in Finland. Definitely a lower scoring, stay-at-home kind of guy. Kiviharo has been kind of, he's been in the pro part. Very productive at the AHL level there in Finland. But 15 points at the pro level, 40 games, 15 points, plus 3. So pretty good. 4 goals, 11 assists. I don't see him as this star player necessarily, but he's been pretty good. Ryder Ritchie stepping up again a bit. He's definitely ahead of last year's pace now, where for a while there he was like hanging around, struggling. But he's been better since about the midpoint of the year there, or a little bit earlier than that, about the third point of the year. He's definitely shown improvement. 36 games, 19 goals, 20 assists for 39 points, and he's a plus 6 versus a minus 1 last year. So encouraging. Obviously a right winger. Doggone it. And Zeev Buium, of course, the prospect the prospect in Minnesota, basically the guy. 24 games, 29 points, 6 goals, 23 assists, a plus 11. I'd say he's behind last year's pace, but I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. It is what it is. I think he's ready to get into the pros, and we can see what he can do there. So it's a little bit of a bummer. It seems like the whole Denver team is kind of like behind last year. But in a way, it's like, you know what, and as long as they don't win the national championship, they're like the Kansas City Chiefs of hockey. And I don't cheer for the Chiefs or the Denver Pioneers. So, again, you get the idea there, what I'm leaning towards. With that said, that should wrap things up with the prospects. Let's get busy with what you guys have to say on Fan Interaction. And we are back here on Brave the Wild, segment number 3, Fan Interaction segment. At Brave the Wild is your Twitter or X account, and on my brand new Samsung Galaxy X25 Plus, yeah, I know, I'm just having fun, the the Instagram for Brave the Wild is BraveTheWild_MN. At least that's what I've been told. Yes, BraveTheWild_MN. Give that a follow if you could. Interact on there if you could. I know some people are there, but not too many. Oh yeah, this was already talked about. The guy who scored a couple times against us, Andrei Kuzmenko, is heading to the Philadelphia Flyers. Great uniforms. I like those black ones with the orange stripes everywhere. Oh, so cool. Not everywhere, but those are cool. And I'm usually not a fan of black jerseys. I think they're overdone. Yeah, Morgan Frost, Joel Farabee. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, Brave the Wild could use a little love on Instagram. It's not doing that bad considering. It's growing, but about as fast as a hair grows somewhere. So yeah, it needs to grow a little quicker. That'd be nice. Let's look at things now. I might be getting some more additional reaction here. I love when posts show that there's a reply and it doesn't show the reply. So what's up with that? It's kind of annoying. Get out of here. Oh, maybe it's some kind of offensive. It's not offensive, but it's spam. Okay. Yep, that's spam. So that's why. Anyhow, sorry about that. I was like, that's why it's not showing. Because it's spam, and I don't mean the stuff that comes in a can. So I'll get into Derek's first before I jump into my poll. Holy shit, yeah, he did like 4 of them, didn't he? Dang, Derek. It's cool, though. I'm not complaining. Which Minnesota Wild prospect do you feel has the best potential to be an impact player with the big club in the next few seasons? Steve Buium, Danil Yurov, Charlie Stramel, or David Juracek. Well, Steve William with the landslide lead. It isn't over yet. 2 days left. 73.5%. Danilo Yurov second place. 18.9. David Juracek with 7.4, and poor Charlie Stramel with only 0.2%. Interesting. Next one. Which one are you most concerned, basically? Jesper Wallstedt, Riley Heidt, Carson Lambos, and Jack Pert. I think Lambos is doing okay, but yeah, obviously he's not. It's not like he's, it's not like he's been spectacular. No, so I get it. I voted for Jesper Wallstedt, and it's a landslide as well, 75.6. It's a damn shame. I did vote for Zeke William in the upper one. Jack Pert comes in second, 10.6. Carson Lambos, 10.3%. And Riley Height, 3.5. So people are still okay there. Next one. Which wild prospect who may not garner a lot of attention, do you think could be the biggest surprise by becoming an important contributor in the organization in the next few years? Aaron Plank, David Spacek, Ryder Ritchie, and Aaron Kiviharu. Well, the leader so far is Ryder Ritchie at 28.8, Aaron Kiviharu, 28.4, and my vote, Jasper Wallstedt, yeah. My vote, David Spacek, that's my vote, 26.1, coming in third, so very close logjam there, and even Aaron Kronk isn't that far behind, 16.7. Cool. Next. This is the final poll. What are your thoughts, from Derek anyway, at Crease Assist, a great Crease and Assist, at Crease and Assist, hashtag Crease Assist, or Crease Podcast, pardon me, when you want to get on there. Usually they record by Saturday-ish, and it's a great show. So jump on board, baby. Yep, and he gives me encouragement as well, and really thank you, Derek. What are your thoughts on the NHL Department of Player Safety ruling on Ryan Hartman's suspension of 10 games? Too light, just right. Not too light, just right. Too many, and no suspension warranted. Thankfully, that got last place with 0%. I said just right, 45.5, and that's the leader. Second place, too many. I don't know what's wrong with you guys. 43.6. I don't know what's wrong with you. You think it's too many? Too light, 10.9. Just his tone deaf behavior when he got the match penalty alone tells you I think it's just right. Come on, guys, come on. Seriously. So let's get to my poll now, because it's just so wonderful. Okay, first of all, I apologize for my ignorance that the name Yeti is officially dead. On my last episode Thursday, pardon me. With that said, which name do you prefer of the three finalists? Please don't vote Utah Hockey Club. Please feel free to comment. Yes, Utah Outlaws, Utah Mammoths, and Utah Hockey Club. To my surprise, somewhat, Utah Mammoths is in first, 55.9. I think I've been going with the Outlaws for now. I mean, I'd take, Yeti, but you get the idea. The Outlaws, 38.2, second place, and Utah Hockey Club, 5.9. Okay, and there is a response, and I do have something to say about the Utah Hockey Club here in a second. So, I just replied it, and it was Utah Outlaws. This is just kind of a random thing. It looks pretty cool, though. It actually looks better than the one that is out there. Derek had kind of a sarcastic response to the design of the three possible logos. Yeah, and I kind of agree with them. They're not that good. The color scheme is great, but yeah, they're not that good. Jay Bushy leading things off like Ricky Henderson, another home run. I love it. Welcome aboard, Jay. What's your thoughts on Hartman's status with the team going forward? Number one, to be removed from the team as soon as possible. Yep, I mean, get him out of here, basically. That's kind of my thoughts. It's time to go. $4 million a year. What are we doing in the first place? Did the guy deserve a raise from what he was making, like 1.3? What was he making? 1.5, or was it 1.3 or something? It was pretty low, and he was very productive for a few years, especially that one certain year when Dean Evison and everything was fantastic. And the Wild looked so great until we lost to the freaking Blues, like the first round, five games. That was ridiculous. I couldn't believe how frustrating that was. But so he deserved to get more, but $4 million, and of course he dropped off a bit after that. So extremely frustrating. It's like, I understand you want to reward hard workers and all that, and guys that have paid their dues and do a good job. Believe me, I can relate to that. And I mean, yeah. But yes, when somebody does reward you, you're very happy. But you don't follow it up by, you know, by completely, you know, crapping on the team basically in multiple occasions, especially this one. So I say it's time to go, and I hope the Wild do that. Long story longer. Grand slam home run there by Jay Bushy. Love it. No, it'd be a single. It'd be a solo because he's lead off, but you get the idea. Derek Felska lightning round has a tornada. Yes, sir. Let's hit some home runs here. I know I like to talk about baseball, right? I guess so. What are your thoughts on Vinny Hinostrozas? Decent pickup off waivers or a dumpster dug kind of move? You know, a couple years ago I might have said a decent pickup, but it does kind of seem dumpster duggish. Maybe like desperation, I think. I know. It's like I have nothing bad. I don't mean to be rude to him, but I mean I don't mean to be rude to Vinny, but more so like, yeah, it feels a bit dumpster duggish. I'd say I'd lean towards that direction. Yeah, I mean it's yep, and I love the nickname because it's absolutely true. Dumpster Doug was the king of the dumpsters, boy. Yep, he missed on draft picks like you wouldn't believe. I mean, talk about swing and a miss. He was like what's that Twins designated hitter that like is like the world record holder in strikeouts per at bats. I mean, it's just insane. That's pretty much Dumpster Doug in the draft. It's like, dude, you suck. You suck. What was that guy's name? Sano. Miguel Sano. Yeah, he's the Miguel Sano. Like he might hit a home run. No, he didn't. Doug didn't hit too many homers, did he? That's almost closer to Chuck Fletcher in a way. He'd strike out a lot too, but he'd get a few homers. I don't know. But in his last year, Sano is basically just striking out. That's pretty much Dumpster Doug. Long story longer, sorry. Next from Derek, if the Minnesota Wild were a co-worker in the lunchroom, what would they be eating or what would they be talking about if they were saying anything at all? They'd probably just be the dork who has just staring at their phone all day doing nothing. Or, you know, and not even eating, just staring at their phone. I can't believe how many people are like that. Like you go to lunch and you don't even eat, you just stare at your phone. And it's all you do, stare at your phone. I think that's the Wild in a lot of ways, especially lately. That's kind of how I see that. There's so many dorks. Yeah, there's the annoying ones that have to talk super loud and be on speakerphone. Invest in your bleeping earbuds, please, before I break your neck. That's what I want to tell some people. Nobody wants to hear your YouTube video. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody. I don't give a damn. Nobody wants to hear your phone conversation either. So if you're going to talk loud, go to a private room somewhere. There's tons of them. Anyhow, that would be like the... What are the most annoying teams in the NHL? Like, you know, in a way like Colorado, Chicago at times. So stuff like that. I don't know. Well, that's what teams those would be, where the Wild are just the goofy young, you know, yeah, the other side of the young person. I'll take that one any day. You know, at least they don't want to break their neck. Like they have maybe they have earbuds in, and you don't have to hear anything. I'll take that. I'll take it. But yeah, definitely nothing spectacular. Next, who do you got to win it in the Four Nations series? Will we see a high profile player get hurt that will make the league wish they never did this in the first place or not? Oh boy. Well, I hope not. I don't want to predict injuries or anything, so I hope not. And for the answer of who's going to win it, I hate to say it, but you probably know, don't you? You probably know. Well, because it's Canada, Finland, Sweden, USA. You know, any of those could win when you consider the talent on every single... Yeah, I mean, those are good. You know, those are like probably the four best countries in the world for hockey, outside of Russia, of course. Oh, you know, but yeah, I won't get off of that. It's going to be... I don't want to say it. It's the Kansas City Chiefs of Olympic hockey. Who's that? The freaking Canadians. Yes, it's going to be Canada. I'd love to see the USA win it. Finland or Sweden, you know, I mean, obviously epic countries for hockey. You know, Sweden's had so much talent. Finland, incredible. But it's going to be Canada. I mean, so blame Canada for ruining the Four Nations. And I'm afraid to predict anybody getting hurt. I hope not. There might be like maybe a nagging thing coming out of it. So we'll see what happens. Let's just knock on wood. Next, cool. I like these kind of questions. I mean, I like all of them. They're good. Yeah, they're great questions. Jay Bushy included, of course. I swear there was I got to backtrack. Or no, I'll go to it at the end. I did get a reply for when I was going off on Ryan Hartman. My bad. I'll go to that later. I don't want to interrupt the lightning round. Who was your favorite NHL player growing up that didn't play or had ever played with the Minnesota North Stars? Oh boy. Oh boy. Growing up and all that. So, oh man, I'm trying to. My mind is kind of. Okay, it's going to be a huge name, huge name. So hopefully it's not too annoying. Well, okay, I'm going to name two. So one that was a absolute superstar, like legendary player, who probably could have had bigger numbers if not for certain circumstances, and another one who doesn't get as much attention but was an awesome player, and I really liked him. I just liked him. I don't know, partially because of the team he was on for most of his career. So I'll open up with the big superstar, Mario Lemieux. Mario Lemieux. Yeah, I mean, my God. I hated what happened with the North Stars. Well, like the way he just absolutely humiliated us at times in the Stanley Cup Finals, which I liked calling it then very much, more than final. But I just like that better. It sounds better for some reason. But I'm just an old head, according to the millennials and Gen Z, I guess. Well, old head me till you're blue in the face. I don't care. Stanley Cup Finals. Yeah. Yes, he embarrassed us. But then other than that, when I got over it quicker than I thought, in terms of just, man, he's awesome. And he's not a jackass either. He's not like a showboat like certain tight ends that play in the NFL. I think they're the coolest person in the world. Yeah, people like that. I mean, he can just, yeah, let's just say it's the polar opposite. I'll never celebrate anything he does other than retire and go away. Whereas Mario Lemieux, if it wasn't for the Hodgkins and other off and on injuries, doggone it, I mean, he would have had insane numbers for his total career. I think easily would have been the second best player ever. I think, I mean, like Ovechkin this and whoever that, I mean, I think Lemieux is more exciting than Ovechkin. The other one who's not celebrated as much, but was still a very, very good player. People don't talk about that much all the time, but I'm sure NHL fans know who this is and recognize excellent player. Pat Verbeek. Pat Verbeek, big fan of Pat Verbeek, especially when he was at the Hartford Whalers, because I loved the Hartford Whalers so much, and he was pretty much the best player on that team most of the time. Ron Francis had some good times there as well, but Pat Verbeek, big fan of Pat Verbeek. Yeah, that's pretty much the guy. Because of the Whalers and how good he was. Next, the NHL has announced salary cap projections for the next 3 years. Without reporting all the numbers, the third projection exceeds $110 million. Hello, New York Yankees back in the day. Yeah, so wow, that's pretty good. Do you think the cap ceiling will rise to a point where owners can't reach it, or only a few will? Possibly, and then here we go with the Rangers and stuff. God. So they're going to... Because obviously, unfortunately, they've been a mess. So they've been a mess this year, but it looks like they had some good moments. They beat Boston recently on TNT, so good for them. Yeah, you're probably. I mean, I'm sure teams will spend. I mean, the Wild are going to probably be spending a significant amount. I know Leopold wants to spend the money, and he doesn't want to lose Kirill Kaprizov and all of that. Obviously, and you're keeping. Like Rossi, I hope. Guys like that. Faber, you've already kept for now. Zeev Buium, you're going to eventually have to give him a contract. Eventually. I mean, it's unfortunately, we got to talk about that. So he's going to be off the entry level at some point. So it is what it is. So what are the other names? Danil, you're off eventually. So on and so forth. If any other prospects ever do anything, hopefully, knock on wood. Yeah. So I think the Wild should be fine. Certain teams probably won't reach it. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams that won't. But, yeah, so maybe it'll be like the top 10 teams or something will reach it. I'm guessing at least. I don't know. I mean, teams are going to spend money. They're known to do it. So we'll see how that turns out. Hopefully the revenue is good enough at the end of the day. So before I get to this Utah stuff, it's kind of like an interruption of the lightning round anyway, so because I kind of interrupted it, so to speak. I want to see something where I went off on Ryan Hartman, didn't I? Well, where's the reply? Okay. Well, where is it? I know there was a reply here. What the devil? Okay, I'll have to go to notifications because I know a couple people. Yep, Anthony Krins said, at best, it's Matt Cookie and Todd Bertuzzi-esque. Yeah, basically what he did. Mr. Okay. Oh, so that's a response to Derek, but that's okay. Totally fine. But I know MN Johan was telling me to calm down. Yeah. I was, okay, because I was responding to Derek's reply. I was saying, I'll add this. 2 minions in second place. Come on, people. Take the Wild shades off. Take the Minnesota Wild shades off. Hartman is a mini-time offender and a goon. MN Johan says, oh, calm down. For all the bitching by certain fans, this team isn't tough enough. Playing dirty is about the only way to send a message that's left in the NHL. So, yeah. It is kind of sad, yeah. It is kind of sad. So it doesn't really sound like he's, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like he's really disagreeing. Maybe, I don't know if I'm reading this correctly. Yeah, I mean, certain fans that say it isn't tough enough. Playing dirty is about the only way to send a message that's left in the NHL. So, yep, I mean, okay. Yeah, and he's like putting a question mark, though. It's not like pointing a finger at me. So, I don't know. I get it. I get it. Emin Johan has a lot of good thoughts about hockey for sure. So, appreciate it. I think him and Derek have had an argument or two, but nothing serious. That's for sure. Just kind of mostly like having fun with each other. So now we're going to go to the Utah Yeti. The feature presentation, doggone it. No, they're not the Utah Yeti. So, here we go. I was saying, and then this is when I believe Derek had a couple things to say. Yes, he does. Okay. So this is where we go. Interesting. It appears that if they are called the Utah Hockey Club, that'd be the, like if ultimately it stays the name, the Yeti will be the mascot. So it's like an indirect way of getting the Yeti, just not the name. The 3, yep, and then the, what's it called? UniWatch said the 3 leaked Utah Hockey Club logos was confirmed. So, yep, the Utah Mammoth, which is what's on my show, is coming first place. Outlaws coming in second, and Hockey Club with 5.9%. But the Utah Hockey Club, it's clearly it's a Yeti with like mountains in the background, kind of. It's kind of like a Minnesota Wild logo in a way, where a lot of people, yeah, this is something I was going to even get into as I was in the shower this morning. I was kind of talking to myself, kind of pretending to do the show. I do that sometimes. Where the Minnesota Wild logo, see, it's kind of like Minnesota Wild. Where can you go with that? And that's like, me and my dad were hoping for like a red fox. And because it's like, okay, you got wolves, you have, Panthers, you have tigers, oh my, Detroit Lions, tigers and bears, oh my, you know what I mean? And then you come with Minnesota Wild and you think, okay, how about a fox? And other people probably were saying a bear. Other people might have been saying a badger or this or that. And then they come up with this logo where it looks kind of like it could be a mix of a lot of stuff. A bear, like a wolfish, a fox type of thing. A badger, it's definitely got that kind of that look on the face kind of. And then even a tribute to the North Stars with the North Star, with the North Star as the eyeball. And the wilderness as the and the wilderness on it, which is pretty cool. So I know a lot of people don't like the Minnesota Wild logo, but let me say, me and my friend Paul at the time when it first came out were just blown away. Like it's absolutely awesome. Where how detailed it was, attention to detail, and how creative it was. So I really do like the Minnesota Wild logo a lot. It's probably why it hasn't changed, because I think a lot of people may agree with the uniqueness of it and the attention to detail. I think they did a great job with it. And that's the one thing about this Utah Hockey Club. Like, the name is boring and stupid. But if they call them the Utah Hockey Club and you get like a Yeti with mountains all together on the crest, it's like a Yeti with kind of put together with mountains. If that's like the logo, that's kind of the winner for me, I think. That's the winner for me personally. The logo is the winner anyway, because then you still get the Yeti, and then it's a boring, stupid name, but it is the Yeti though. Knock knock. It'll still be the Yeti and they'll probably have the mascot in the arena as a Yeti. Otherwise, Outlaws and Mammoth, I'm not going to complain at all if either one comes up. I like Outlaws probably the most, generally speaking, with the names. The logo is pretty cool. I mean, it's okay. It could be better. The logo that I posted was some other thing. Somebody else created it, obviously not me. Looks more creative than the one that you're seeing here. The mammoth, not too bad. Not too bad at all. And it would be a unique thing. Big tusks, obviously. It's a ancient, prehistoric monster. It's like a blurry creature, basically. Kind of like the blurry creatures line. And frankly, a Yeti is absolutely a blurry creature. And heck, outlaws are blurry creatures. They're invisible and stuff. I like how all of it's kind of either the Old West. It's all kind of old school, like the 1800s with the outlaws. Maybe up into like the early 19s, like the 20s-ish. The Yeti, which, could be like an ancient creature, kind of still around. Ancient prehistoric type creature, which is still around, supposedly. And mammoths, which were around, way back in the prehistoric times. So the funny part is, so Derek made fun of something how, so you have the logos beneath Utah Hockey Club, the Yeti, Outlaws, da-da-da. And then above, they're out of order. Like, Utah Hockey Club should be lined up with Utah Hockey Club. And Mammoth should be Mammoth and Outlaws. But they're all kind of messed up. Like the images with the players in the uniforms, the graphics of the players in the uniforms, basically. I know it's all like, what do you call it? Like, not AI, but the other thing, like Photoshop, whatever. They didn't line them up, which is dumb. Like, what are you doing, guys? So Derek was saying, I like how the graphic above doesn't match the graphic below. Yeah, I mean, And that sounds like Derek. He's like, yeah, I like how the graphic above doesn't match the graphic below. I can just imagine Derek saying that either to me or on his show. And I said, yeah, it's pretty dorky. Why didn't they line them up? And he's saying laziness on who put it together. Let's face it, the logos were EA Sports created team logos, as they are. Yep, he's not impressed with the logos. I get it. Totally get it. The logos, they're not too bad. I don't think they're terrible, but then again, it doesn't kind of look like you're just kind of like just random. Okay, let's call them the Outlaws. Let's, like made up teams, like on EA Sports, that kind of thing. But what I do like, and hopefully maybe they can make it a little more creative. But at the same time, I think the Utah Hockey Club mascot logo wins. I think it wins. So it's like, I actually wouldn't get mad at the name Utah Hockey Club because of that. It wins. Like the Outlaws one, that's totally, like, it's not the worst thing ever, but it does feel like just some random name in a video game when you're just, okay, let's call them the Outlaws. Like it's a made up stuff, though. Let's call them the Mammoth. That one's a little better. The Outlaw gets last place for me because there's just nothing there hardly. Just a head with a hat and a mask. Like, The Mammoth is kind of creative. It's not too bad. But I think the Yeti is... put it this way, if you like the Minnesota Wild logo, you'll like the Utah Hockey Club logo because it is a Yeti with the mountains together. It's like wilderness combined with the face and everything. So I'm impressed by that, actually, quite a bit. If you could make like a more detailed, maybe like improve on it a little bit. Like that's not the final, that it's just like a rough draft type of deal. Yeah, maybe you might have something pretty special there, actually, in my opinion, because there's your Yeti, and again, the name sucks, and there's probably not much you can do about that. Why not just call him the Sasquatch? Would Sasquatch be against the law? I don't know. I mean, would it be is that one like totally copyrighted and stuff? I don't know, but I'm dragging this too long and making it too serious. It's not our team, but I will be honest with you. Whenever a new team comes, be it they move and they change their name and colors, or an expansion team comes, no matter if it's baseball, basketball, hockey, football, and it's professional like Major League, I'm interested. Damn it! Like how excited I was when the Minnesota Wild or Minnesota NHL franchise was named way back on June 25th, 1997. That's how excited I was. I remember the date. Like a nerd. I don't have to go find the newspaper. I remember the date. That's how big of a nerd I am when it comes to that and how excited I was about it. Nerd in terms of remembering stuff. Geek would be like excitement, but I'm not a geek. I'm a nerd. There's a difference. Look it up. I'm a nerd. I'm not a geek. I'm more balanced in my interests. Geeks just obsess over like 2 or 3 things and think everything else sucks. That's not me. Nope, that's not. Yeah, I love when a new team comes and you get to find out the name and logo. It's exciting. Most of the time you're disappointed. Vegas Golden Knights, I was not. I liked it. I was not disappointed. Liked the name a lot. Color scheme, yeah. Yeti, I like the color scheme. Utah Hockey Club so far, I like the color scheme. And we'll see where we go from there. But if you can add an actual Yeti mascot, that's really creative and smart, actually. I think that's a really smart, creative way to go about things. It's just kind of too bad because I think most fans are going to vote against it because the name is boring and dumb. But you add the mascot, there's your Yeti, doggone it. Anyhow, with that said, thank you so much for listening. Huge shout-outs to M&W Young Guns /Prospects, Minnesota Wild Global. You guys are absolutely fantastic, and I appreciate you so much. Crease Assist Podcast. God bless you. I've gone a bit long this time, but again, lots of fun things to talk about and pissed off things to talk about as well. So the pissed off stuff and, of course, the Yeti at the end, or Utah Hockey Club, whatever, at the end. I keep calling them the Yeti. I'll never get it out of my head until they have a real name. But with that said, thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you in a week. We'll review the 2 games and keep looking at the prospects. Why the heck not?